Yep.
Oh, hello. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and these amazing people have joined me yet again for what I am reliably informed is our 12th episode to explore a little game system called Rapscallion. We've had real fun, a lot of fun using the quick start guide. I start talking almost in the past tense here because we're getting close. This is going to be probably our penultimate episode. So 12 down, or 11 down, 2 to go, so to speak. And let's meet the people that made it this far. And then we'll talk about the one who's coming back for the final shot. But tonight, let's start with Siosa. What are you doing when you're not here listening to me blither?
Well, I run another game on Sundays, Shadow of the Walk Term, which is a first edition Let's Play for 7C. We just had our 26th episode, which still feels wild to me. But we're taking this Sunday off, so catch us next Sunday. Other than that, I'm not on social media. I'm sort of allergic to it. And if you want to know more about me, you can find me on the Discord and send me a DM. So,
Yeah.
but
Speaking of our Discord, it's a fine and wondrous place. At some point, we'll put the link in the chat, but you can always find it. There it is now. There's the YouTube as well, or instead, and the Discord. Look at all the things, and a blaze of glory. Yay! Uh, that's three good things. I'm three times happier than I was a minute ago. Let's move on. Next, from the far side of the world, deep in the darkness of a part of the world that I one day honestly wish to go and visit, but I probably never will because I'm broke. But from
it's
Poland,
a really nice place. Nice
Carol,
place
tell
to
us.
visit.
Okay, I like that. Instead of telling us what else you're doing here, if I were to come to your city, what would you take me to go and see?
I think the nicest thing to see, aside from all the wonderful parks we have, like the Łazienki Królewskie, so it's some very nice park with peacocks and ducks and all the lovely birds. The most wonderful thing is the Palace of Culture and Science. It was the gift from Stalin to Poland after the war. Like Stalin is a horrible madman and a murderer, but he gifted us a really nice palette and it's very surrealist, all in marmor and nice, very nice architecture. It's a wonderful place to look at and it has some amazing stories and it's
Oh, lovely.
smacked up in the center of Warsaw and it's well worth a visit for architecture alone.
There you go. Which brings me to an interesting point. This history like that always blows my mind because I live in a country that's less than 250 years old. Right, there are buildings that you can probably see from your window that are older than my country. So,
Not in Warsaw because
uh,
it was all
right, of course.
uh,
Yeah,
flattened down by Nazi Germany.
right.
But like Krakow has
Yes.
amazing palaces and very old, very pretty buildings, and they are also all around Poland. There is many, but it would take hours
All
to
right.
tell
Well,
about it.
we
But
got a
it's
game to do
very
instead. So,
interesting
but thank you.
stuff.
Thank you very
Lucky
much.
13 next week. Our lucky session finale.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Thanks.
And next, back to North America, as far as I know.
Yep.
Deku Shrub Lily, to give you your full
Hello.
title. What else you doing when you're not here?
Uh, Not a whole bunch of a lot. Just right now, drinking some blackberry flavored Dr. Pepper, which is really, really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds really good. And watching lots and lots of our shows on YouTube that was put up earlier.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
real good. Go to the YouTube. Leave
six
comments,
six
even
hundred
if
and
they're
yeah,
emojis.
650 plus episodes. I'm just utterly blown away. But yes, please do go and feed the algorithm. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the things, um, and we'll do it just like you're supposed to. But until then, let's do it our way. We are playing Rapscallion, the RPG. We are using the Quick Start Guide. There is a fully developed game in. It's out there on Drive Through RPG. You should go and get it if you like pirates. I didn't do it justice because I left huge chunks out of it, but let's finish it anyway. Uh, we left last week with yet another saving, capital S saving, under the belt of a group of people that we can no longer call pirates. You haven't stole shit. You haven't pillaged anything. I am revoking your title, and I am replacing it with heroes. You guys landed to pick vegetables, and you saved people from zombies. You told a bunch of demons to bugger off. You weren't even interested in their deal. You didn't even want to hear it. You killed their minions by the handful, and you have flat out saved everybody you've met. And now, as you return to the surface of this iron mine with the hematite waterfalls on the outside, and you watch the people come up out of the darkness behind you, you realize how pale they are. They have lived underground for ages, but they struggle into their boats, and you see them operating old, rusty equipment to get the rocks to slide out of the way to allow them to ship out, literally. And this time, unlike every other time, they leave the gates open because they don't have to hide anymore. You guys have to take the other route out the door onto the beach where your boat is. And as you get back to it, you'll notice that the silver, the mercury like substance on the lake, has started to creep up the side of the boat. But as your little boat that you guys rode out here, but as it's done so, it's hardened on the surface and kind of coated it. And given your experience, especially yours, anchors, um, or anchor, you would realize right away that there's no way barnacles could grow on this. Seaweed's not going to stick. This is you. Instead of copper bottom, you have a mercury bottomed boat without all the toxic side effects because this is fantasy. And it's kind of doing it by itself. And as the other boats start to come out of the cave behind you, you see that they've all got the same thing. It's crept all the way up to the gunnels. And these boats are silver. And as you float out into the sunlight of the next dawn, because you guys stayed the night, right? The silver off the lake, the silver off the boat, the wakes off the boat, everything is just a glitter. You can't really see. It's hard to even look down into the boat to see your compass to make sure you're going in the same direction to get to the shore. But eventually you do, and then out of that glare behind you, ship after ship after ship beaches, and you can see the wary looks on their faces as they look over towards the Viking community. And then you hear them saying things like, "There's no smoke, there's nobody there, they're not here, they're not here." And you feel that tension level come down. And the leaders step forward and start leading, right? Make tents, make camps, let's get set up, let's do a thing. Um, do you respond to that in any way? There's an empty Viking village right there.
Yeah, we might as might as well suggest to them to make use of the facilities since they're currently unoccupied. And I guess I can write a letter to Jarl Leo saying, "Hey, this is a situation you owe these people."
Absolutely, yeah. As you explain that to their leader, the lady you were talking to last week, they it's so shocking to them they almost stop breathing. They're doing that like you want us to. You can hear the record scratch noises every time they try and process the thought. Right, it takes about 10 times for it to get through their own head that you're offering them the longhouse and all that goes with it. And in the half an hour that it took you to get to shore and they start to build the tents and whatnot, and she turns around and says, "Stop, stop, we're moving in," and she points over at the the whole area, and then they all you just hear like 50 head record scratches and 50 heads all just what? But
It
then they
wasn't 50 last week. You said
oh
there were
sorry
12.
12, yes, sorry, yeah, I thank you because my memory's garbage. So yes, there's a dozen of them in a few boats. They start moving in that direction, and you can see they're already starting to get sunburned. Even in the sort of 20 minutes or half an hour that you've been out here so far, they're that pale. But that's probably going to be a minor inconvenience because you see them, they're still like opening every door? Like, is there a Viking behind it? Fake Viking, sorry, before Ben gets started on me. Is there a
Settler.
fake Viking
Yep.
behind it? Is there a fake Viking behind it? There's see the food that was left over, like just it wasn't, it's not waste, it's just the stuff that's left over from the party that they had there the other night. They've left, but they left all that, which is a cornucopia still. Never mind what you
No,
guys have got on the ship.
yep. I didn't unmute myself to be mad about Viking because Ben has accepted them as honorary Viking. He doesn't have a problem with them anymore, but he just wanted to say to the woman, to the people, that they should try to rob some soot from fireplaces under the skin to not get so sunburned because he's from the north and
Yeah.
the Northmen are pretty pale, and that's a
Careful,
trick he
you're about to
learned.
make Ben a ginger here. I'm just
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, I get it.
yeah.
Yeah. So you start offering helpful advice for them being in the sun. I love it. But you,
What Anchor is going to say something like Cassandra too, like of you may want to warn them to stay close to their boats. I, who knows what'll happen when we breach the city? How many zombies
Yeah.
will come from it? They should be ready to move.
Yes,
yeah,
and she would tell them about downriver and the farmer village,
yeah.
and that the Jarl, the new Jarl, and his people are down there. And even further downstream would be the pirate outpost, which is actually more likely to have the most of the people that we've been helping along the way.
Yep, absolutely. So you inform them of the whole chain of people that are now all the way down this river. And you see that as they came over, they brought a lot, not all, but a lot of their product with them. So they've got arrow tips and spearheads and swords and anything metal that you can imagine. They've got plenty of them and they're ready to trade. So once again, they're, yet another group has moved into where the last group was. There's all sort of clunk, 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 like a Tetris game, all the way
Musical
down the river.
chairs.
Yeah, which
So now we're
leaves.
going to have to fit everybody in the city down in the mine.
Yes, it's the only logical solution. But
Let's
speaking of
put
the
the
city,
zombies in the mines.
speaking of the city, now that this is out of the way, you look upriver and you get the impression it's time to go. It's it's time to resolve this once and for all, one way or the other. You head
Help
back.
one last batch of people and then try to dispose of this problem once and for all.
Yes, exactly. To cleanse this island and make it.
Well, one problem. There's still the
Yes.
demons.
Yes. Yes. Uh, but with that, the Espoir begins to work its way upriver. It doesn't take long until you get to, like, I almost want to call it a line in the sand because there's a place. You come around a narrow bend in the river, and from that point on, it has just been devastated. It's just a wasteland. You can see partial crops from last year left to rot, but at the same time, you can see bags of seed that were never planted. There's no, there's the rivers right there, but there's no aquaculture. There's no watering of anything. Everything is dead. You see a couple of things that probably were villages at some point, but somebody has gone in and gone to an effort to make them flat. Not just knock them down, but to flatten them and make them non existent. You can see that roads were destroyed, trees have been cut, everything has been just with intent destroyed. And as you move into that zone, you see a fair number of zombies moving around in the near distance. And there's also these sort of sticks in this wasteland that have ropes with balls on the end of them hanging from it. That in the wind are just going clunk 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 clunk, and making just enough noise to keep the zombies moving towards them as noise sources. So the zombies in this area are no longer inert until charged up. They're already moving around. Stop me at any time. But as you move into this further and further, you're kind of getting to the point where you're expecting to see the city pretty soon, or at least something other than this wasteland. But the first sense that is assaulted, and that is the right word, is smell. You can smell the remains of the city ahead of you. And it smells. The hopeful part is it smells like people, but it's unprocessed waste smell. It's rotting food, it's rotting lumber, it's the smell of decay, and the smell of zombies. And the next
Poorly kept prison.
yes, a very poorly kept prison. The next sense that gets assaulted is your hearing. As you get closer, you can hear. It starts off as, I love this word, a susurration. It's like a flight of birds in the distance, sort of, but it thickens and gets heavier and heavier and harder to put up with and more just in your face. It's the noise that thousands of zombies make. Thousands of excited zombies. It's the feeding sound, but there's thousands of them. The air is just vibrating. It's so loud you're not sure if any noise you make could be heard. And finally, you see it in the distance. It looks like a pile of rocks first, because there's no square corners, there's no, red rooftops on white buildings, there's no pretty city walls with gates. Everything is collapsed. Everything is broken. This isn't flattened. It's not devastated like the rest of this area, but it's like a melted candle stub in the middle of a table. Right? It's just there's nothing current about it except for the smell and the noise. You can see there's also faint wisps of smoke from somewhere in the center of what used to be the city. And you can tell from where you are, even as you approach, there's not a lot of zombies out here in the suburbs. You're not even like quite to the suburbs yet, but there's suburbs, wrong word. The outside of the wall, the vicus in Roman terms, the little village outside the actual walled city. Even that, there's not a lot of zombies there, but because of the noise of the other ones and these scarecrows, zombie noise makers, they're they're moving all the time, and they're hypersensitive. As you start to get closer, you can see them starting to move towards the riverbanks. These are, although they're still the slow moving ones, you see the occasional bolter in that group, but there's something more focused about them here, something less random.
Um, since we have rowers
Yep.
on the ship, does that mean we have like that drummer guy to keep them in sync
Yep.
with each other?
Mm-hmm.
Could we move that drum up to the deck and have him go to town on the
Yes.
just stand there
Yep.
and dance
Yep.
rhythm?
Yep.
We
That would
also have the hordy-gordy guy,
Yeah. He's
and
yeah, he's floating in the boat behind you. And
Ben
he's
also
currently, now
can
that you mention him, he's
play
currently hugging
violin.
his hurdy-gurdy and just kind of looking at the riverbanks. He's not happy.
And Ben could also play the violin if Captain Cassandra orders him to.
But let's have you try the drum first. You haul it up on deck and you set it up and you bring out the big shirtless dude, because it's always a big shirtless dude that drums, right? And drummer Tom is, they're all Tom, right?
Drummer Jim.
No,
Jim,
they're all
drummer
Jims.
Jim. Sorry, yeah, that's right.
Well-
Different ship. Sorry, different ship. Oh, the Toms are
No problem.
yeah, drummer
This
he
Jim.
is
plays
the
the tom
Jim
tom.
Yeah, maybe that's where I went with that. That's probably it. So
Well waxed.
well waxed Jim. Yeah. So he starts. The effect is tiny, and you're not even in the city yet. You can hardly hear it standing on the bridge of the ship, like the length of the ship away from where he's pounding on it. You can hardly hear it. It's the zombie noise isn't just loud, it's like white noise. It's just flooding everything. So music is
That
going to be questionable. Sound
complicates
is going to be
things.
difficult to control.
Green noise.
Good noise. Good test though. You learned the thing.
I'm glad we figured that out now.
Mhm.
And we have another gym on board. The gym universe has expanded.
Gymverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gibbers.
Gymverse.
Mm,
One more thing I'm going to give you before you get we get any closer. I said there's a little village sort of spread out outside the wall and in the wall itself, and the wall's mostly crumbled down in places. But there is one place where it's big enough that there's a graffiti. And first thing, the graffiti looks like it was done with a ruler. Like it's like the LED clocks that had the sections, the eight
Yeah.
sections in them. It's like that, right? It's all geometrically perfect. And it says in big letters, "Stay in line."
sneers a little at that.
Telling
Um,
pirates to stay in line. Yes.
Anchor is actually has like a moment of puzzlement kind of across his face, and he just takes a moment, and he's not often one to like ascend up to the crow's nest,
Yeah.
just because like he's bigger than many others, and
Yep.
there's always some warning creaks when he does it, but
Yep.
he still heads up, and like he's wondering if there are like lines between the zombies, like if there's something that might actually be literal about it as a warning, like if you need to come or go, like there's a pathway.
Okay. Yep.
So he's just going to take a look. And if there's not something quite so literal, then he's at least going to get a sense of like what might be the safest approach
I
towards the
love that
city.
the literal approach is going to get you information, but not the information you thought you might get. Anchor, you're up the all the way up to the crow's nest, and like you don't fit in the crow's nest, right? That's designed
No,
for
he
one
just
little
hangs off the
dude to
side.
stand there. So yeah, you're just sort of up there, hanging from the very top mast of the ship. Um,
I
you
think
s-
Anchor could get into the ship and like emerge from the top of the mast because
No, I
technically
it's
think he's
one
probably yeah,
with the
but he's
ship.
gonna
maybe,
yeah
but he always kind of crawls around it and
yeah.
climbs up and down it. It's
It's
a
better.
personal space
It's
issue.
better as a also better as a leader thing, right? To if you're still willing to run the rat lines, then they all have to be willing to do it too, right? But
Yes.
yes, so you get up there and you look. You see a couple of things. The shape of the city creates dead zones, dead-ish zones, where buildings are blocking sound, and there's absolutely density differences in the city that could be exploited to get in. It's not stay in lines as in if you follow Fifth Street right downtown, you'll be fine. But there is anywhere the variations in sound are making a difference. So there are places which are quieter and therefore have less zombie activity, and you can sort of map those out and give yourself an advantage moving into the city for sure. But finally, from that height, you are the first one to see the pens. It used to be an amphitheater dug into the ground, not a standy uppy one, but a diggy in one. So it's a huge pit, and where the seats used to be has been replaced by every row of seats has got a barbed wire fence on it. Every single row. It's overkill to the 100th degree. But in the center, what used to be almost a coliseum sized area, you can see is two slightly separated pens of the same barbed wire. There's structures behind them, and it kind of the scale is weird, but from this distance, it looks for all the world like hamster feeder. Like there's a big one that looks like it's full of food, and there's a big water tank, and there's hoses that go down to each one of these pens. And around the pens is a solid mass of zombies. They're close enough, they can smell it, they're triggered into feeding frenzy mode, and they're just trying to crawl over each other and get in and get in and get in. But that's when you realize that the barbed wire works both ways. It's keeping the last humans in, and there's hardly any movement. Most of them are laying on the ground trying to find shade where there isn't any. and this wall of zombies that's trying to get to them.
There's one more thing I'd like to ask, and if I need a size up roll
Yeah,
for it from this distance, that's fine.
yeah,
Um, so there's the running theory that sound is what is being used to control them.
yeah,
And that means that inside of the city, the non-zombie engineer presumably needs some way to get around safely,
yeah,
which would lead me to believe that he's got a speaker system or something to do a large amount of sound
yeah,
throughout the city.
yeah,
And so he's just looking for maybe like elevated speakers or something similar. It's already a coliseum, it's already an
yeah.
auditorium, and like I don't know if like his memory of the time before has a proper word for it, but he does know that it's like a stage. It's a place that like
Yes. Yeah.
because he like watched wrestling, so like that was he's
Yeah.
seen these kind of things used in a very different
Yes.
context. um and he also knows that sound needs to travel through them and echo and
Yeah.
everything. So what
I
he's
like
looking
that.
for is something that is naturally designed um to do that kind of a control.
Okay. Yeah. For that, give me a size up.
Okay, now would be a great time to break my free XP streak. And
that is the full success. 10, which gives you you hold two, so you can have two pieces of information. You were looking for the sound system. There is one. You can see speakers in the Coliseum. You can also see, once you catch the shape of those speakers, the cone shape, you notice on the far side of the city, almost out of sight from where you are, there's a road that heads up towards the volcano and upriver. There's still some river past the city. It might not be big enough to go to take the Espoir up, but it's there. But just outside the city, there's a cart with one of those on it. So it looks like they had control of here, and then they had their cart, and that's how they got out of the city, because there's nobody left in control here. I think that's two. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the sound system you were asking for, and the second one, without asking you for, he's gone. This is an abandoned experiment.
um and he will call down. Or actually, he's going to slide down because he's a little careful about making a ton of noise right now.
Yep.
And so the what he opens his mouth to like just boom orders, and he's like, "Ooh, wait."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And instead he slides down and moves closer to Cassandra and says, "You should get a look at the lay of the land up there. Um, I've seen speakers that we might be able to find a place to make a great deal of noise to distract the zombies from."
Would he tell her about that little cart he saw?
Yeah, he fills it all in, but he's like also giving her specific places to look at so she can see for herself.
Right.
Um,
My turn to go up then.
Okay.
Let's see, plus vinegar, plus two. Yeah, plus two.
Yeah. See what you see.
Send.
oh,
13. Yeah, that is a maximum. So you get again two. If I may be so bold as to suggest, how can I safely blank is one of the questions that you can ask me. But you get two questions. So
Extraction.
yes.
Safely extract the people,
Yeah.
especially since the zombies are like constantly throwing themselves at the wall.
Yeah. The ones that are real close are going to be tough. Very difficult. They are locked on like a dog on this, like that smells bacon in the cupboard, right? They're not going until somebody shoos them away directly. But it looks like if you can make enough noise, you could try at least to draw them away in sections. You're never going to get them all to come at you at once, and you probably don't want 5,000 zombies coming at you at once.
Hell no.
But yeah, if you could either go and get that cart and use that, see how it made noise, or you can come up with your own way. But clearly, you can see that it can be done because whoever was here did it. And what else would you like to know? That's one thing.
Um, let's see. You mentioned that there's still some river left to go, but we would
Yeah.
have to use one of the smaller boats.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how many people can I see from here? Um,
Oh, that's a very good question. Yeah. I mean, the prisoners?
prisoners, yes.
Yeah. The two cages are male and female. They've separated them for some reason. Um, and it looks like there's probably 50 to 60 of each. So probably 120 total people left in there. There's also a lot that are, to put it politely, no longer moving. To the point where the survivors have had to, and there's nobody taking care of it. So the survivors have sort of piled them around the edges because you can't have bodies
Mm,
everywhere, but there's no place
yeah,
to put them.
disease
So
concern and
yeah, so they put them as far away as they can, sort of under the first layer of the barbed wire. But there's been very heavy losses.
yeah.
And the other thing I'll give you is if you do some math, if both of these things were full, there was probably 4 to 5 thousand people in here. And there's sort of
Mm.
2,000 zombies stirring around.
Yeah, the engineers has not endeared himself to Cassandra in any
Mm-hmm.
manner.
Yep. I'm going to give you one sign too. The sign on the outside that said stay in line. You see another one in the city. You find another chunk of wall that hasn't been burned or destroyed. And on it, it says in that same square print, follow instructions! Exclamation point. And it's set up so that it can be seen. This one is set up so that it can be seen from the pens.
That prick.
The first hints of the madness behind all of this show.
As if the zombies running around all over the place wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm. But
Seeing
the reason why he made the zombies in the first place is starting. I hope is starting to creep out.
seeing that there are so many zombies, Ben would suggest maybe since we have magical music, maybe we could like fight fire with fire, fight zombies with zombies. Like
I'm wondering if we can get that cart to work
Send in the chickens.
yeah.
Certainly.
have it amplify Ben's music. I have to wonder how that would affect your magic. Would a
Ready for
louder
your
sound
So you asked about the river earlier, Cassandra. If you guys were to get into a smaller boat, you could circumnavigate the city and not have to worry. As long as you stay in the river, you're fine. And you could get more or less to that cart. You'd be sort of 100 meters, 100 yards away from it when you ran ashore. There are some zombies in that area, but certainly not many. Not as many as there are in the city itself. So that might be a
Yes,
good chance to try.
and I know that that's disrespectful to the unmoving dead, but maybe we could like use them to help the still living ones and distract the hungry zombies with the
okay, let's above table.
yeah.
In this world I thought the zombies weren't eating the dead.
No, they're
It
not.
yeah,
was
No,
I
they were
don't think they
no.
do.
crushing
Yeah.
Oh,
people in
okay.
order for the
They're,
engineer.
So
yes, and actually, thank you for saying that because what they were doing is gathering people, and so now the system has broken down so bad they're trying to gather people that have already been gathered. Right, the system's gone into a feedback loop.
oh,
That
okay.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
Sorry, my mistake.
that's okay. That in a normal zombie scenario, that would have been a plan, but
Yep.
yeah.
I also don't think you were actually at the first game where we talked about a lot of the
Yep,
basic
that's true.
lore of that stuff. So, so Anchor's gonna look at Cassandra It says, so it seems the best way might be to take the magic fiddle to the cart, see if we can get it running, and use that as a distraction while someone goes to free the people. Is that about right?
Yes,
Would
Yes.
that's
you would you
a
rather me
simple.
drive the cart or free the people?
Uh, I think you have the better chance of getting through that barbed wire than either me or Ben.
Yes, I agree. Mr. Anchor is best when opening doors and protecting.
Making doors.
Yes. And I can just turn into an animal and just fly to the cart.
But
You
you'll
need
need
someone to
somebody
drive
moving
it.
it. You
Yes.
need somebody driving it.
That's true.
I can get the boat, get one of the rowboats to the cart without making barely any noise. The two of you can hide within it and then go out and give me some time to get set to go into the city and start to lead them back to the ship.
I like that idea, but the captain decides.
You also have a crew, so you could easily take half a dozen gyms with you to pull the cart around.
Like
Um,
volunteers, the bravest ones that want to help a bunch of survivors.
You get you ask for volunteers, the whole crew volunteers, all the gyms. You ask for the bravest of the brave, and they start pushing each other around, like trying to get to the front.
and
You end up with Bosun Jim steps in at some point and starts pointing, and he picks four similarly sized, large, powerfully built sailors to act as draft horses for your cart.
um, so just because of the mental imagery, there's a couple things that's with Anchor knowing that like a little bit about electricity because he is himself sort of electrically
Yep.
based. In the sense of it's at least the manifestation of a lot of things for him. Um, I would like to spend some I don't really have like a scholar type skill or anything like that, but I would like if there's like a setting the scene or something that I can do with my luck. Here's what I have in my head
Yes.
is that
Yep.
like I have this mental image of like baby Anchor as like a human,
Yeah.
like going to a park and like getting to ride on go-karts and stuff like that,
Sure.
and him just sort of like having a memory of that and being like these things this thing will move of its own sorcery, um, and here's how it does. I remember there was a
Oh.
stick on the left and a stick on the right,
Okay.
and the wheel will do this, and it already has the speakers on it, so it must
Yep.
have some kind of power. So like he's putting all of that together and sort of like drawing it in the ground on like the deck,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that like and looking to Cassandra to explain like basically the mechanics of how driving works.
So,
Because
yeah, I like twist fate for this.
yeah,
You spot a fleeting opportunity within the scene, or you find something useful in this. It says in your pockets, but in this case, in your memory.
yeah.
Okay, I love this. So yeah, give me spend one luck point and you pick one. There is no roll. So spend
In
a
Okay.
your
luck point
brain
and
pockets.
you
I
explain to Cassandra that you might not need the sailors. Cassandra made you get a very quick driving instruction, and if he's right, you can drive the cart while Ben plays, and then you don't have to put your crew at risk. Was that the goal,
that
Anchor?
was kind of the idea.
Yeah.
I think if we have crew that we could potentially outfit with like Molotovs or anything that they can do to cause additional distractions
Oh, yeah.
in case there's a need for it, like in case Cassandra like hits something and you know the zombies are closing in or they need to like drop an arch or
Oh,
just
yeah.
whatever. Like I'd rather see them as like sappers. You know what I'm
Yes.
Roadie
saying?
gyms. The gyms will be
Yeah.
roadies
you
when our music
you
Where's
start
plays.
talking to
explosive
them.
Jim?
You guys have got cannon too, so they're
Blown
setting
up.
up the cannons to fire grape shot into the crowds. They're doing
We
Molotov
do?
cocktails
I thought
are.
we didn't.
Oh,
And
No,
you
we
guys have.
didn't. Well,
We
we'd been
got
working on
some
trading for
from
some, but I don't know if that ever
the
happened.
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Well,
brass gym.
in that case, I'll take that back. Oh yeah, because you had brass gym.
Yep.
You got cannonballs,
From
so you must have.
the first village was making
Either way, the
cannons.
weaponry at hand is
Yeah.
that you're giving sailors an opportunity to kill zombies. They're like, yeah, only in defense. Yeah, absolutely, and they're already putting down the gangplank to go send out raiding parties. And you guys have, I mean, they're pirates, right? And in their minds, you guys have had all the fun up till now. It's time to do some. You can hear things like, finally, some proper pirating. We're gonna go kill the shit out of some zombies, and they're sharpening swords and cutlasses and putting eye patches over eyes that aren't blind. You know, they're just going into full mode.
Yeah,
I love it.
because the eye patches are when you switch from light to dark. You will not be blind in the darkness or with the changing light.
I get +1 to cool when I do this. Then I switch eyes.
I guess since there's a crew for backing us up and distractions, there should be some of the crew reserved for extracting prisoners.
Yep.
Like after we do the heavy lifting, they can sweep in and help Anchor.
Perfect.
Get
we
people
also
out.
have the light cannon
the,
to maybe make an exit or burn some zombies.
Speaking of people helping Anchor, as the story is getting explained, the little boat that's been floating behind you off and on since a little bit before the factory, you look back and you can see the man with no name pulling on the rope, and as he gets closer to this ship, you can just because it's full of people, and he climbs up on deck and he's just and he walks up to you, Anchor, and he says, "You're not going in there alone. I'm going with you. I hate people. Can we go now, please?"
Give him some space to like the other crew. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and you can see he just like the proverbial goldfish growing to fill its space. That's not how they work, but it's just, you know, that's the effect. As they move away, you can see him sort of settle.
Don't worry, hurdy-gurdy Jim, you're okay.
And yeah, he's got it strapped to his back, and I don't know how much good it's gonna do, but
and he'll say, I think the most dangerous point is going to be when we're getting people loaded back up and we have zombies in pursuit. Maybe the safest place and the best place for you is close to the ship, so that when all the people are coming, you can be a bulwark against those who are following.
And he nods. He says, I like that because there's no people. It's just me. Okay. And he just marches over to and waits because there's still zombies on the riverbank that need to be cleared. The crew will take care of that. But he's in position and ready to go.
Yeah. And he looks to Cassandra like, is there anything else we can do to prepare? He knows she's got books. He knows there's things she's never tried, you know.
There is one thing. I think she would want to go to her library real quick and get her calligraphy brushes.
Yeah.
And start drawing on the back of her hand.
Okay.
She's going to draw a circle, and inside that circle is swirl upon swirl of waves. Just sort of spiraling into a point.
Yeah. The Fibonacci spiral of, yeah, I got it. I got you. And are you grabbing, I'm presuming you've got your books with you?
Yeah, all three of them, but she's going to be keeping, I guess, the demon book sort of organized in a way to grab it first.
Okay, yeah. When you open the book that Pointy's in, you see him. He's ready to go to war. Pointy's got his felt hat on. It's like a regular wizard hat, but it's heavier duty. It's probably like an AC 11 instead of 10. In D&D terms, he's got his tabard on. He's holding his staff, and he's only shaking a little bit. But he is absolutely ready to go to war for you.
During this moment, Anchor is going to go to Ben. And he's gonna like put a hand on his shoulder. And he says, "There's something I need to tell you that won't make much sense now. but when you start playing, I want you to remember it.
Okay, lay it on me.
Um, the pain that you know when you play is a source of strength if you let it be.
I don't understand, but as you said, I will remember it. And I know you enough that I know it's important. Thank you.
So I'm spending a bond at this point. I've just done an ability, and what it's going to do is that it's the next time you have to, it's which I forget which one it is. It's like the,
Stand your ground, I'm presuming.
I think so. It's the one that if it gets a 10 or higher, um, you're just going to pass it. You don't have
Yes.
to roll.
Okay,
So if you have to like make a roll to do that, you're going to get like the best possible result.
okay. Thank
You
you.
can spend that at whatever point. Um,
I think that's that's the standard. I know when I'm going to use it anyway.
Okay,
And I'm gonna I like that because that's gonna be narrative. All right, excellent.
amazing.
So, with your loins girded and your preparations made, I just want to make sure I've got the plan right. Anchor, yeah,
Two more questions.
yeah,
Do we get our luck back from the last session? Is
yes,
my armor back and is my harm back? Because I was
yes,
injured.
yeah.
So
You guys have had. I'm going to give you the full rest treatment. Uh,
Thank you.
so
Generous
if I got
Jim.
this correctly, Anchor is going to take you guys to as close as you can get to the sound machine. You're going to run over and take that and use it to distract and get the
Yes.
zombies to follow you. Hopefully,
And
creating
Encore
a
will
space where Anchor
lead the people.
and Hurdy Gurdy Jim and the sailors can get in and make the rescue. Right?
I think Encore and sailors will make the rescue, and Gordy Jim will distract the zombies trying to follow the rescued people.
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. Right. Okay. Perfect. All right.
The way Anchor's pulling them in, he's going under the rowboats. He's going to attach his anchor to them. He's
Yeah.
walking the water and just dragging them so they
Yeah.
can stay low. No rowing, no sound.
Yeah. I love it. That's what I'm glad you said it because I had pictured it that way and I knew Anchor had that skill, but we haven't talked about that skill since like the second episode. So, well, since you
Right.
guys waited ashore at the longhouse actually, but never mind.
It looks
Anybody
so
else
cool.
have anything they want to do before you guys leave the boat?
Nope.
Captain Cassandra?
Um, she's out of inspirational speeches.
Yeah.
She's just going to
It's
thank everybody, and she already gave her instructions for her
yeah.
capital H history book to make it to the peoples of the ocean.
Yeah.
So that still stands.
Yeah. So as you start to be captainy, you hear one of the gyms yell, "Attention!" and the entire ship snaps to attention and salutes you as you step off the ship.
The fact that Captain Cassandra is going with us it's inspirational enough without any speeches.
You what I was trying to, the effect I wanted to get across was yeah, Captain, they don't need inspiration. You already did that. They will follow you to hell and back. They're ready to go. They're pirates. They want to pirate for all their piratey might, and you've just told them they can. So you're the best captain ever. You kept them alive all the way up till now, and now it's time to show you what they're willing to do for you. So with that, the three of you make your way, anchor boom to the bottom, hook up the thing, and start walking up the stream, which leaves Ben and Cassandra and a few other sailors, just because they're coming with you to bring the boat back and that sort of thing, just going up the river against the current with no apparent means or motive, a motive of doing it. As you do, the line of zombies on the shores gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And as you finally get to the spot where he's going to drop you off, there's actually a place, a rocky spot, where they can't quite get to. They're not coordinated enough. They try to get to it, but they just sort of fall off the rocks and end up in the river and wash away and anchor. You can look up and see them washing past, and then they hit the ground and try and walk, but they can't walk against the current, and they're headed for what used to be the weir down at the end of the river. Right, they're gone. They'll be out in the ocean in a couple days, and it allows the two of you to get ashore. Anchor, where do you go from there?
Um, so I think like once they've gotten to shore, he he wants to escort them all the way to the cart, but he also knows that like he is not quiet.
No.
And as much as he would like to be, like once he goes, it's going to have to start going loud.
Yeah.
And so the best thing that he can do is to be like away from them. You know what I'm saying? And just trust that like if they need him, they will scream and he will find it within himself to get to them.
Yes,
So
as is his ability. Yes. All right. So you head back to the ship then, or are you finding your way directly into
no,
the city from here?
he's going into the city.
Okay.
He and probably at the same time as like the sappers on the crew,
Sure.
like give them time to get up onto rooftops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'll be some time for Ben and Cassandra to get the cart running, I'm sure, but
Makes
Okay.
sense.
All right. I'm going to start with Cassandra and Ben because I want to get this flow moving, and then I want to have Anchor head into the city. So the two of you, the boat leaves, and the two of you are now on this rocky little lump sticking out of the side of the river. You're about 100 yards away from the cart. You can see it over there. And between you and it are 20 to 30 zombies. They know you're here. They're surrounding this little rock that you're on and trying to get to you. What do you do?
No way to distract them that they would buy, really.
Maybe storm? I'm not sure how your magic works, Capitan. I
Down
could
here, I
just
just want to interrupt quickly. Down here by the river, Ben, you're pretty sure if you played, you could control an area maybe 5 meters?
he would
Like a
tell
bubble?
that to Capitan.
Yeah. So that's and I meant on each side of you. So about a 10 yard circle around you. You can keep that clear at this distance. That you will not be able to do that unless you get much louder. You won't be able to get into the city and do anything like that. But hopefully that's where the cart will help.
Yeah, at least to get us to the cart, that should help keep them off me while I figure the thing out.
Yep.
Yep, so
Make sure it
Ben,
even runs at this point. Who knows how long it's been outside being exposed to whatever.
Yep.
so Ben would
that's what luck
start
is for.
playing to get them to the cart.
Okay. And you bring it up. You know what's coming. Right? You know what's gonna happen.
I'm not sure, but we can make it narrative that he knows that something's wrong, but he still is deciding to be as brave as Capitan Cassandra because she's such a paragon for him now, and he wants to change the world for the better because he finally understood what the ship stands for and what's the idea behind all of this is, and I think he would start to play Paganini in the way that the great violinist Jerzy Heifetz did, almost robotic way
Mm-hmm.
with devilish perfection. And
Yes.
I picked Paganini because it was an old wives' tale that many people thought that Paganini sold his soul to the devil to be able
Yeah.
to play so well, and he would start to play Paganini's music.
And that split second, the first sound comes out. Cassandra, you can see the zombies judder back. Like they're forced back like it's a force field, like it's a wall. It physically hurts them to be close to this. And speaking of physically hurt, you turn to look at Ben, and within a split second, tears rolling down his face. He's shaking, he's shuddering. Are you saying anything, doing anything?
No, it takes everything in him to just keep playing and to just walk with his
You can
violin.
hardly see. Yeah, Cassandra, you can see him. He's about to walk off the rock, in the wrong direction, and you have to
And on the
steer.
back,
Yeah,
sort of
and steer him.
gently
Yeah,
steering him in the
yeah.
direction we need to go.
So this robotically perfect music. There's no emotion in it, but every note is exactly where it's supposed to be for exactly as long
Yes.
as it's supposed to be. It's how you imagine a computer would play it. And if you played it like this in front of your piano teacher, they'd slap you to show and tell you to show some emotion. And as you
Yes.
move forward, you can feel. I mean, you said you got your hand on his back. You can feel him just coming unstuck inside.
And it's like Capitan Cassandra is the glue that
Yeah.
holds Ben together. The feeling of her hand on his back, it's what keeps him together, keeps him
And
playing, keeps him walking.
I don't even know if Ben would notice this, but Cassandra, you do. About halfway there, that that hand on his back, it almost feels like there's a transfer of energy from you to him, and that robotic feeling starts to fade. And
At
yeah,
some point during that, she would have moved her hand up to the shoulder
yeah,
and given him a little squeeze before
yeah,
start pushing him back in
perfect.
the right direction.
And as you give him that squeeze and get him moving, you can feel his emotions start to leak into the music. But correct me if I'm wrong, it's the wrong emotion, right? Paganini is not tears and sorrow and the one that you're thinking of.
No, because yeah, Jascha Heifetz was so perfect in
Mm-hmm.
his interpretation of violin music that other violinists said he's so good that we should break our fiddles and our
Yeah,
yeah, on our backs because nobody can play as good
nobody
as
can play
he.
as that.
I'm gonna put some of his works on the Discord.
Yeah,
It's
thank you.
amazing.
So,
It's like a marble statue playing the violin.
but Cassandra, you can feel that although it is this perfection, it becomes more when Ben commits his pain to the music. Like any artist, if you
Yes.
the more of your pain you put into it, the truer it becomes, right?
The more any emotion you
And
put
by the
into it,
time you get there, oh, thank you for the sub, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, and I don't,
and it
and
started.
hello, Mystic Nemesis. Hi.
Hello,
You
hello,
popped in
hello.
and gave us a tier 1 sub. Thank you. That's
Welcome,
really
thank
cool.
you.
Thank you. 12.
Thank you.
Holy crap.
I
12 gift subs. There's not 12 people a year. Um, Thank you. I appreciate the heck out of that. There's going to be some people that join later that get a sub just for showing up tomorrow, I guess. I don't know how that works, but thank you. That's really, really cool. Uh, Back to the
So
story.
he not only puts the pain in this music, but also the thankfulness for Cassandra's friendship, also
Yeah.
the emotions of love, of friendship, love that he feels
Oh,
for the whole crew, the respect that he feels for both
that's
Cassandra and all the James and
the
the
second
encore.
layer. Yeah. The
uh,
second layer of emotion
he's
hits
starting to put all
the
of
gratitude.
himself and all those new feelings in this music, and it's start to have all those colors, musical
Yes.
colors, variations in it.
And because you are demonically inspired, those can physically appear. Cassandra, you see, it's like being in a soap bubble now, except that lovely rainbow skin isn't just the skin; it's all the way down to you. It's like a three-dimensional, translucent bubble of Ben's devotion and love and what he's learned and his focus. And as you step closer and closer to the cart, you can see it's having more and more of an effect on the zombies around them. It's not just a force field now, it's like an electric barrier. As he touches it, it's just like a bug zapper knocking them back. And when you get to the cart, you can see, Cassandra, you can see that the instructions are pretty much exactly as Anchor explained them. There's two levers, and you know how to drive this cart. You also see inside it, there's a big spring that it is his power source, and it's about half unwound. So if it took half to get from the middle of the city to here, you've still got, several miles of go before you're going to have to wind the battery. And you actually, or not the battery, the spring. And while you look at it, you can see there's two pedals on the floor, and it looks like if you push those pedals, it will wind up the spring. I'm stealing from my own stuff from Necrobiotic. But yeah, you can wind this thing up as you drive it. As you get him close, you're maybe trying to think, how the hell do I get Ben in the back of this cart? Because it's your height. But Ben just sort of almost walks up the wheel and into the back, and you see him do that slightly spread-legged stance of a performer on stage. And you look up from where you are, and it's like he's backlit by the sun. There's a few clouds behind him. He's got this bubble around him. Now that he's raised up off the ground, you can see even more of it. And as he steps closer, it's literally just a big megaphone. And Ben, you sort of, without even knowing, you just sort of lean into that space.
Yeah. And
And
Ben, knowing that now it's the moment, he would change the music. He would get his bow up. The bow would start a flame with his green devil flames,
yeah,
and so would the violin. And he would start. Maybe you know that YouTube video. There was like two guys on a bass playing Thunderstruck
yeah,
on
The two
string
cellos.
on the
instruments.
cellos, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the
There's a
cellos,
number of
yes.
versions of it, but yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you were telling about thunder and electricity,
Yeah,
I think that
from
thunderstruck
from
would
the
fit
technical
this great.
perfection of
Yeah,
Paganini, played by the person whose name I'm never going to pronounce
yeah,
correctly.
Shagai fits.
Thank you.
He's
I'm never
Hungarian,
going to get
turned
that right, so I'm not
into
even going to try.
American.
From that to
To classic rock. Yeah,
yeah,
yep,
and the banging with the bow. And again, as that
yes.
hits, Cassandra, you look up, and to me that music's really joyful. That song in particular, it's just like, it's party
It's
music, right? It's
electricity, it's
time to,
energy.
yeah, it's time to go music, right? And
It's kicking ass music,
yeah,
and I thought that would fit.
and completely at odds with that, you can see Ben starting to fade under the pressure. You have no idea how he's been able to put up with it this long. I don't know whether you know exactly what he sees while he plays, but you know it's awful, right? And you can
I
see him,
saw the tears.
yeah, you can see him
I
Felt him
starting to
think
shaking.
crack.
Devil Powers would
Ben,
show her a slideshow, like
yeah,
show both Cassandra and James a
you
slideshow
can,
of
yeah,
Ben's life,
and
like glimpses.
while that's happening, mechanically speaking, Ben, this is where I would have made you make this stand your ground roll to not just
But
break down,
yeah,
but you
but
automatically
Ancor
succeed. You
said that
think you see
20.
Anchor's face in front of you, and na na na
And
na
when
na na
when
na na.
he's feeling that he would fade, he remembers how strong Anchor is, and thanks to the magic of the tattoo, the electric power of Anchor enters Ben, and Ben has some electricity from
Oh yeah,
Anchor.
like a light show.
And he's powered by Anchor now, and that's why I picked Thunderstruck, because
Yep.
Ben is literally thunderstruck by Anchor's thunder.
Speaking
Uh,
of Thunderstruck, Captain Cassandra, you're sitting in the seat of the car. You got a rock and roll weapon on your back, like on the back of this car. What are you doing? precisely with this.
I'm going to get my man to a bigger audience.
And you just crank it around the. Are you heading into town?
Yep, we
Okay,
need to be a distraction,
I
and I
love
got a
it.
good one right behind
Yeah.
me.
So we're gonna cut briefly away from you guys as you turn that cart around and start to head into town. Anchor, you're in your spot, right? You're sort of waiting for your cue for the violence to start so you can make your run. You hear a song you haven't heard since you had flesh and blood, bones. Your parents used to listen to this, right, on the gramophone, right? You hear thunderstruck roaring from this side. From the other side, you hear some absolutely foul mouthed sea shanties as your crew completely ignores your carefully planned instructions and rampages off the ship in a wave of fire and steel. The hurdy-gurdy Jim looks at them run past him and just goes, I'm beginning to like people a little bit more. And he tucks his hurdy-gurdy under his arm and chases after them into the town. You've got distraction A and distraction B. What are you doing?
So, um, Anchor, so there's a third distraction waiting in the form of like the sappers that have like
Yes.
snuck in with Anchor. And
Yes. Oh, yeah. The explosions start.
Anchor's
And,
yeah, and Anchor's thing was to like sneak in, get into the rooftops,
yep.
and then he's just going to run across them and like vault over alleys
Oh,
and roads and stuff like that. He's going above everything.
to the. Yep.
He knows he can't be quiet doing this, so he's going to be fast.
So to the music, for musical purposes, to the strains of Thunderstruck, Anchor is parkouring across the broken wreckage of this city, and the fireworks are going off on one side. On the other side, there's lightning bolts flashing off of this cart, and you skid to a stop, Anchor, on the last building before the pens.
He doesn't
No,
stop.
don't stop.
He's
Just
he's using the
right over the
momentum.
edge.
He's
Yeah,
just full speed leaping
yeah,
like up and going up and over to come down into the pens.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
love it. Yeah. So yeah, you fly over the gap. You as you land. Do you want to try and take out some of the fencing, or you want to
if he
just
can
land in the
land
pen?
such a way that he's going to like use fencing to squish zombies, he
Yeah.
will.
Okay. Yeah.
But if he can land in such ways to have a moment to talk to them
Yeah.
beforehand without immediately having to fight off zombies, he'll do that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, if you do the full leap and land in the pens, you're still in the pens. The pens are still intact. So you're in there with the people, still surrounded by the zombies who are starting to pull away in various places to go to these other distractions.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So yeah, the giant land in the thing. The if you were expecting a heroic response, you don't get it. It's just stunned disbelief. They just look at you. There's no energy left. These people, you immediately, without having to do a size up roll, these people aren't walking out of here. They're gonna need to be carried, supported. But did you want to? There is one who is at least looking at you like they recognize that you're an opportunity and that they might be able to communicate with you.
um, uh, there's so I'm actually um I'm gonna take a point of the like the first level of anger, the one that he needs to
Yeah.
because like
Oh
there's
yeah.
like he understands why they're hopeless, you know what I'm saying? But his crew is risking themselves for them.
Yes.
And if they
Yep.
can't even mount the will to walk out of here,
Yep.
like it's just kind of like sizzles through him and his eyes crackle. And
Yes.
he just booms. He says, I am anchors away. I'm the bosun of the Espoir, and my crew is risking their lives for your freedom. Um, he says, if you follow me, we will get you out of here. He says, but I will need your steel. You have endured more than any can imagine. Now it is time to use that strength to get up and move.
And it's at first it's like you're talking to you might as well be talking to statues. But that one that was looking at you, reaches out and grabs one of the ones that's next to them that's sitting down and just sort of stands them up and pushes them towards you. And then remember the old ad for, I think it was hair product, and they tell two friends and they tell two friends and they tell two friends. You can see it spreading. You're just shaking them out of their stupor. Uh, they'd given up. They have no hope, and now this creation of steel and wood and booming huge voice has dropped out of the sky to tell them to get their shit together and run. Which group did you land in? I said guy, right? So you landed in the male side. So you it's only about a meter between the two, and you see them
And it's just a chain link fence between the two,
exactly,
right?
yeah. So yeah,
So Anchor just walks up to it
yeah,
and he just tears the whole thing down. It's
yes,
like the first kind of
crash, yeah,
opportunity to like express some of that rage,
yeah, oh
and
yeah,
he knows he's gonna need it. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And he's willingly not giving himself a breather yet. And he just
yes,
kind of like
perfect,
grabs one of the women and stands them up and then does so to the next one. And
yeah,
there's like no apology for it. He's a bosun with a crew to whip into shape and he's got seconds to do it.
oh
And
yeah, I
so
love it,
like
yeah.
there's nothing but angry drill sergeant. He
Yep.
wants them more afraid of him than of the horde of zombies that's like terrified them for years.
Absolutely, I love it. Yeah, and once they get moving, I mean, they're people, right? Once they get moving, once you give them hope, once you give them a reason to fight again, a chance of survival, no matter how slim, they respond because that's what humans do. And they start getting up. Even the ones that are limping, even the ones that you can see their ribs, you can see that they have utterly surrendered. Even those ones get up and walk. They're not running, but they're moving. And they're
Um,
trying to form up.
and he's moving to this like the first place that like he knows from their plan is gonna like be the most direct course back to the ship.
Yep.
Um,
And taking
and he just
advantage of
does.
those little quiet spots. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he just moves straight to that chain link fence, and it comes down too, and he's just a human wrecking ball,
Yep.
like making an exit for them. And he knows that very rapidly he's going to need to be like the rear guard instead
Yep.
and be fending off everything coming after them.
Yep.
And so it's just like a constant like booming, like move, move, move,
Yep.
you know.
And you're moving them along and tearing down the barbed wire as you go, taking incidental and minor damage along the way. As you get to that last wall of fence, there's still a press of zombies against it. Behind that, you can see, because of the direction you're heading back towards the ship, you can see your pirate crew coming towards you. Like they're burning their way here, and the zombies are starting to turn and fade away, but there's still a wall of them here.
Um, And I think the response to I would like to do just like the direct engagement. He's like getting his momentum up as he's heading
Yep.
towards the wall. He knows
Yes.
that every zombie that's focused on him is not focused on the people, is
Yep.
not focused on the crew. So
Yes.
he hits the entire wall like full
Oh,
force to
yeah.
bring it down.
Yep.
So like they're under chain link. And then he's just bellowing full anchor volume, anchor in hand, like
Yep.
sickle in the other. Like whatever
Yep.
zombies are there, it's like
Oh yeah,
come get
I
some.
absolutely love this. This is, and now in my head I heard as 100 zombies, one anchor instead of 100 men, one gorilla. Yeah, and yes, full juggernaut mode. You hit the fence, it shatters, and I want you to do a whole string of getting in a scrap for me
Okay.
because this is just I want to know how big a hole you make before you go down.
Okay.
Because I presume that's like you're just heading for the ship until you can't go no more.
He's here until, like
Yep.
the last person is aboard.
Yep.
So, um, and so the other part of this is that I would like to, because my primary thing of protection is the ship and the crew.
Yes.
Um, if is it acceptable to every round, anytime he sees somebody like getting hurt that's from his crew, his anger channels up
Yes.
one?
Yes. Thank you. I was looking for a way for to get you to ramp that up, but yes, basically every round, just the frustration of not getting as more and more of them pile onto you. I can just see the rage building. So I really want to, yeah, I want to see this now until you're crushed under them, and then I want to see this explosion, right?
Okay.
All right. So the first one is a 9. That is yeah, that's 1 6. That's
That's
a
the
single
partial success. The 10
partial
and higher
success.
is
Yeah. So
double.
you take basically all I'm tracking here is your damage. So you take 1 damage in that round because you only
So
got the
first
9 or
point of
9.
armor goes off.
Yeah, first point of armor is gone, and the rage starts to climb. And you just
Okay.
like they haven't even slowed you down. They didn't even that bunch didn't even you haven't even broken stride yet.
Yeah.
Next round.
So second round, he's gonna lose a second point of armor. If his rage is going up again, then I'm now at 3 out of 4.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I love this. So yeah, we're only through the armor, so let's keep going. You got 2 points of armor, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're finally into the meat. Let's go. 11. No, we're not. The armor is gone, and as one of them tries to grab you and wrap around you, you just take your arm out and just snap off his arms, and he just falls behind you. They're piling on, but it's pointless. Like they're not even slowing you down yet.
Yeah, and he just like
At this rate, you're gonna make it to the ship. I was waiting to just see you get buried, and like how long was that gonna
yeah,
take? But
yeah.
um,
He's a
that's 3 rolls
he
already. So
so first round, he screams, he says, I am not a man. And then the second round he says, I do not bleed. The
yeah.
third round he says, I do not flag.
And
And now I'm gonna do the
behind
last
you
one.
in this like the wake in a boat are these people coming behind you, and they're being protected from the last few zombies around them from your crew up on the rooftops, firing crossbows and pistols, and they're covered in zombie guts. They're singing dirty songs. They're drinking booze you didn't know they had. They're just one of them's got patches on both eyes and he's still shooting. You know, yeah.
So and with the last one, he's taking his first actual point of damage.
Okay, yeah,
If and he finishes it with "I do not yield," and he just like plants his feet at that point,
yeah,
and like he's just a wall, so that every zombie that's running from the city is gonna hit him,
yeah.
and everybody's behind him at that point.
Absolutely. He
Um,
sort of blocked the street, and like the Viking on the Stamford Bridge or the Spartans at Marathon. You're making your stand. And as they stumble past behind you, some of them are running. The ones that you didn't think could walk are at least walking quickly. They're helping each other. Every once in a while, one of your crew jumps down off the roof and puts themselves at even more personal risk to help these last of these people out of here. And meanwhile, as they turn to look, you see them just they looking at you can't see this anchor because you're faced away just in full rampage mode, but they're just looking at you and shaking their heads, and it's just like, yeah, that's why we follow him. And they go into full protection mode, and a ring of them comes down off of the roofs and forms up with near military precision but a lot more style, and they form up around the survivors and get out of the densest part of town and start to move back towards the ship.
and at that point, Anchor has 4 full levels of rage,
Yeah,
which means that he's compelled to go into a fury, which means that as everybody's getting to safety, he steps after them. And like the first time one of the crew steps after him, he's like, get back to the ship. And he's going towards the zombies.
yeah. So that yeah, and of course the crew is like, we got to help them. It's time to go, right? And they're pirates, so the fatalism about it. It's like we're gonna die. Let's do this. And then you let's just put it this way: you don't have to repeat your order. Level 4 raging anchor is the thunder over there and the fire behind you are secondary issues to the zombies in question. You are, I mean, rampage is the word. And I like to think that it lasts a while. Like,
Um,
they're back to the ship. The Cassandra, and actually, let's do this. Cassandra and Ben, you see you've won. They're gonna make it. They're gonna get back to the ship. What do? You guys have got zombies all around you, but you just got a trail behind you like a bug zapper, right? I mean, it's just every.
If I may,
Mhm.
because that was so badass. First of Ciosa, it was amazing. I love it. And I think that piggybacking of that
Yeah.
badassness,
Yeah.
like the energy would channel to Ben as well. And I think the thunder that was the electricity that was around Ben would turn into electricity for the cart, and the battery of the cart would be full. And feeling all that, like a small fraction of that rage and that power, Ben would be like, mate, no, not mate, solicitor, because that is how Anchor calls his devil. I'm sick of those memories. I'm sick of this double life. No deal. Let's merge them together. I don't want to lie to myself. I don't want to live in the past. I don't want to live a lie. They My crew does not meet me this way, does not meet a broken person. I know that you feed off my pain, but I'm sick of it. If this is have to change. This is have to change right now at this moment, because he's fueled by fury and he's got new courage thanks to Anchor's strength.
And
And
because of
that's
that,
what
yeah.
pushed him to the edge.
And because of that connection, we're giving you that 10 plus again from the thing that Anchor did before you said before you left. I said I was going to make it narrative. I did once, but I'm going to do it again. At this point, Ben, you look inside and give the demon that speech. And when you look to see what the response is in your head, he's curled up in the corner of your mind, being crushed by your memories, by your acceptance of the horrible truth. Before you knew it, but you didn't accept it,
Yes.
right? But the
The support from
realization
Anchor.
that it made you what you are, as horrible as it was, you would not have the
Yes.
strength that you have if it hadn't have been for that horrible
He
past.
would not be the person that he is today. And
And
that's the
Ben,
difference.
you realize at this moment, you just did everything that you did in spite of the demon, not with the assistance of the demon.
Oh. With the power from his friends, with the support from Cassandra, he got here. With the support of Anchor, he had the power to do what he had to do. It wasn't the power of the demon, but the power of his friends, the magic of their will.
And that realization crushes your demon till it's gone. And it's just Ben. All the powers and one more. This is your level up. As he pops out of existence, you reach into what's left of him. That's mine too.
Yes. And the zombie hand that Ben had turns in like Anchor has this metal, like the zombie arm turns into polished metal, the same type of metal that Anchor is made of, because a part of Anchor, of that power, of that courage that he lent to Ben, will stay with Ben for the rest of Ben's life.
Cassandra, your crew just crewed like no crew has ever crewed in all the history of crewing. They were heroic. They were smart. None of them are injured. I mean, a couple of the pirates come back and there's scratches and stuff, but that's just war stories. That's just fun. Nobody's dead. You've saved these wretched people. I mean, they're all but on the ship now. They're going to be saved. Your pirates have done it. You look up behind you, and Ben, at that moment, as the demon disappears and he takes his last power, he stops playing and collapses in the back of the cart. You can see he's breathing, but that bubble that he created is still there and still pulsing.
He would start laughing, but
And
it's a happy laugh.
yeah, and he's laughing his ass off laying in the back of the cart. What do you do?
I guess drive him up to the ship with behind everybody else. If there's any stragglers still coming after us, she would want to use her demon book to like hose them away.
Yep.
Like I
Just the,
imagine it's as powerful as a
oh yeah,
fire's
absolutely. Yeah.
hose, or even
Yeah.
stronger.
Yep.
Just like
Just,
push them away.
and you're just using that as to create that defensive barrier. The last person through it, and they walk through it laughing, is No Name Jim, the hurdy gurdy Jim, and he's playing his hurdy gurdy, and he's got scratches all over him. There's a hand still clinging to him, like he's ripped the arm off, but there's still a hand clinging to him. Uh, and he, as he comes through that, you see him stop playing his hurdy gurdy, pull off the arm that's on him, and he starts helping, physically touching and helping these people onto the boat. And then he comes over to you and he says, Captain, can I have a word?
Certainly. What is on your mind?
He leaves his hand up there and he says, I can't believe I'm going to say this. These people are not going to make it anywhere by themselves, and you got business? Um, that means I got, Captain, can I take these people south?
I would appreciate it if you did.
You just don't tell anybody.
Your secret is safe with me.
It's not really, but thanks. And he turns away and he takes them like a shepherd and his flock, right? And he takes them to the food deck, the garden on your ship, and he's handing it out. He's not letting them, go mad in there, but he's handing out like peas, out of a pod. They get one each. He's just he's parenting the shit out of them is what he's doing, right? He's helping
And
them and he's getting them. He's asking the crew for clean clothes, and there is no trace of his antisocial behavior. There's no trace. People are bumping into him. They're taking things out of his hands. And he seems
I
to be
mean,
okay with it.
he's done this before. He's helped people like this before. He would know that
Yeah.
if they've been starved for a really, really long time, I mean, everybody in the ocean would know that you can't feed people a whole bunch right away.
Yeah.
You just hurt them.
Yeah. And once he gets them sort of, I mean, it doesn't take much, like you said, sort of a handful of food each and maybe a draft of good, clean water. And they start going to sleep. They just start curling up on the ship and going to sleep. And he comes over to you and he says, the hand goes back up. He says, Captain, can I have another word?
Yes? What is it?
Maybe at the back of the boat where nobody is?
Okay, then.
And as,
We.
yeah,
I imagine the ship is fuller than normal, but she would sort of ask people to give her and Hurdy Gurdy Jim some space.
yeah, you're the captain. You go up to the poop deck at the back, right? And you send the navigator away. You don't need him right now. You're anchored, right? So you've got that whole back of the deck yourself. So you're looking down over all of these people and over the center portion of your boat. You can see in the distance Anchor just wading through street after street of the city, just causing absolute mayhem. We're going to get you back to the ship very shortly here. You
Look,
could, yeah.
I still haven't activated my last ability yet, so let me.
Okay. Yeah.
So do this, and then
Yeah.
I'll
Let's do that.
talk
No,
about
that's perfect actually. As Cassandra, as you look and see, and you're thinking to yourself, what more could he do? Anchor?
So, um, the ability that I bought last game is called Storm Blooded. And it only activates when I've actually given into this compulsion to like let my rage out.
Yes.
Which he is definitely doing now. He's
Oh, yeah.
fully like lost into a berserk at the
Yeah.
moment. And there are two effects of it. One of it is I get all my luck back. But because I don't think the one wreck and additional damage is really important right now.
No.
He's probably doing just fine. But the other is that there's a massive thunderstorm over the city, and it's helping me actively.
Oh,
Like lightning is
perfect.
like
Yeah.
I think striking him at like every
Yeah.
few moments.
Yeah.
And it's just
Oh,
probably pouring rain, and causing every possible extra amount of chaos that a
oh,
thunderstorm
I
can.
love it. The
Angoris
lightning bolts are taking
thunderstruck,
them out, and you're
literally.
just, it's hitting the buildings around you and blowing up walls, and there's like a tiny hurricane going around you. I love the fact that Cassandra sees this because Cassandra, in that hurricane, in that little sort of cyclone, you see Pointy up in there. He's casting too. He's firing rain down, and it's all cascading. And I actually really like this because what that means is you figuratively and literally watch as the city is washed clean. The storm, it gets rid of the dirt in the streets. It knocks down the smell of the pens. Even the zombies, they're shaken. They're far enough away from themselves. You've broken them up enough that that noise has faded away to a dull roar. They're individual groups of zombies. Now, some of them are still 100 strong, but there's not that 2,000 zombies in one place anymore. And in the middle of all of that pouring rain and pounding lightning, you can smell, is it petrichor? I think that's the word. The smell of land after fresh rain.
Yes, it is.
And it
That's the
has not
name.
smelled like that here in a very long time. And Jim looks at you, hurdy-gurdy Jim looks at you and says, Captain, I used to be a captain, but I lost my crew, and I lost my boat, and I lost my confidence, and I lost my hat. And you inspired me. My confidence is back. I got a mission again. The only thing I'm missing, and he kind of grins, is a hat. And he points at yours and says, Not that one. I want a little one. Not ready for that. How do you respond?
I imagine I can find one somewhere on this ship.
And he kind of grins and he says, You know, it's not really about the hat, right?
I mean, yeah, but you gotta show your authority somehow.
And he leans in like he's given you the biggest secret in the world. And he said, They already know you're in charge. The hat, and he flicks it with his finger, is just so you're easy to find. You wouldn't have lost my crew. You wouldn't have lost my ship. And he grins again and he says, But to keep it light, and he's twice your age plus. He says, When I grow up, I want to be just like you, Captain.
She salutes back to him, Captain.
He says,
And
Felix, yep.
from captain to captain, I still don't feel qualified for this, but I'm trying to be worth it. I'm trying to do right by all of them.
With all due respect, Captain, you already did. People don't go to war for somebody they don't love. People don't fight zombies for somebody they don't care about. What they did for you tonight, and he points at the crew, and you turn around and look down, they're drinking and carousing. They are happier than they have been probably since you made landfall.
Even happier than they were at the Harvest Festival?
I think so because this is just them, right? They're not on somebody else's yard. They're on their ship. They're that like if they're not, it's right there. It is just pure unmitigated joy. And he says that tells me they think you're worthy. So do I. Keep the hat. It looks good on you. But don't ever make the mistake of thinking that the hat's the magic.
I never thought it was magic.
Oh, by the way, it gets a little less heavy when you get used to it.
That's why I started wearing it.
He says, you know what? I don't know if we've been formally introduced. Captain Cassandra, would it be okay if I called myself Captain Cass?
Sir, I. Yes. I. She's visibly flustered.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's ever wanted to name themselves after her. Especially not since her name got changed.
Uh-huh. Cass Jim. And he bows deeply and with a big flourish. It is an honor. And with this name, I shan't fail. He says, now, if you excuse me, I got a crew I got to roast. And he heads down the stairs to go and get his people. These people he's just taken responsibility for. And he starts telling them, he starts inspiring them by telling them stories of the places that you've been and where he, that the encounters that he's been on with you. He's only been with you for, a couple days. But he makes it sound so epic and so, like, heroic that they're looking at you and looking at the crew and looking at the ship like they've walked into a dream. And for them, it's got to kind of be like that. I mean, a few hours ago, they were hopeless, lost, and almost dead. And now they're fed, led, and safe. All in all, crew, I'm going to say that was a very good day's work. But one of your crew members comes on ship and waits till the conversation is over on the back deck and then pops their head up and says, Captain, you should probably see this. And he's got a poster in his hand. Can I come up?
Yes. What's wrong?
And he comes up and unrolls this poster and shows you, and it's a picture of a human face. And behind it, there's a drawing of the volcano. And across the bottom, he says, I found them all over the city. And across the bottom, it says, you weren't good enough, I'm leaving. And then to underline the
Coward.
point, as you turn to look, you see just a puff of smoke, not at the summit of the volcano, but out the side. So one of the vents. You see just a puff of smoke come out. That volcano's not active. I think that's probably a good spot to drop the curtain. Yeah. Oh, go.
As
No.
she's staring at that
Yeah.
plume of smoke, she's crumpling up the poster. And she's just sort of muttering under her breath.
Yeah.
There's nowhere you can run, coward.
Perfect.
I want
Yep.
one
Yeah. Let's
tiny
go around the
small
table.
thing,
Yeah.
because Ben would want to go to Cassandra after getting his bearings,
Mhm.
after the whole situation, he got his
I
watch,
imagine it.
and
I
he's
imagine Ben feels like he's run 4 marathons wearing lead boots by this point. Like the
yeah,
emotional blast. Yeah,
and the tiredness kind of turned into giddiness, and now he's more leveled. But he would, uh, Captain, I got a report for you. He's trying to be serious, but he's not drunk of alcohol, but drunk of happiness.
the endorphin wall. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I
Yes,
was
Ben?
like, Captain, my demon is no more. I have a new source of power, and that source of power is you, Mr. Anchor, Miss Vanessa, the whole crew, the ship, and more importantly, the what's the ship stands for, the future of humanity. That's my new source of power.
And in the background, you hear Captain Cass laughing.
And much
Anchor.
further away,
Yeah,
you
I was
hear,
just gonna
"You thought
say.
you were gonna get away, huh?"
Yeah, yeah, I was just gonna say, as the credits roll, I saw what you put in
Yeah.
chat. So yeah, as the credits roll, the camera pans back to the city. All is peace and love on the ship. In the city, all is thunder and war. Anchor is
The after credits
knocking
song.
down walls and
Yeah.
causing floods, and Pointy's just sniping goblins or goblins, sniping
Zombies.
the fast running bolters and yeah,
Finger guns.
yeah.
I, I mean, Anchor has managed to intimidate and frighten the upgrades to the bolters. So I
Yeah.
imagine by this
Oh
point,
yeah.
like even zombies with no sense of self-preservation are like, we should zombie over there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think at some point it becomes a lot more sort of knocking down walls that they're hiding behind and just violence for the sake of violence, kind of like what the crew's doing, but writ large, right? It's been building
Yes.
for so long, and there's finally a target. There's finally something you can take your rage out on, and so you do.
Anchor is like after the second after credit scene in a Marvel movie.
I have uh, I have broken so many pens. I can't believe that this is still on here. Chat just said that he's so excited he nearly broke his pen. Look at the fingers, blue ink all over him. Yeah. So, with that as our backdrop, we drop the curtain on tonight's events with a captain who is, by all the gods, a captain, a crew member who is, by all the same gods, a crew member, and a gentle giant who finally got to let out their beast.
Who is a force of nature, literally.
Literally, in this
And
case, yeah.
and I think there's something underpinning all of it, which is that like, I had this thought before when he was like leading everybody from like beneath the boat, and he'd
Yeah.
seen everybody like salute to Cassandra before they left, and he knew that like Ben was taking on a terrifying task alone in the middle of like a dangerous city with to protect the captain and cause a distraction and go into danger. I don't think he would have done willingly
No.
when he first came aboard the ship.
Yes,
Um, and
definitely.
and so, like, while he's working through all of his rage, there is something underneath it all, which is that there's like a sadness because he's realized like his crew's ready and doesn't need him anymore. And he knows that like Cassandra is a captain and she's got somebody that she can trust in both Ben and Wake Shadow, and like that means that he's gonna be called elsewhere soon, and he knows that. But he's happy to stay for the rest of the trip and see them to the end.
That was beautiful.
That is, and it gives me a scene for next week. I love it. Okay. So, with that, for the third time, I shall pull this curtain's on a spring. It keeps going back up. No, no, we weren't done. We weren't done. If my curtain doesn't get pulled down at least 3 times, I didn't finish correctly. So yes, as we pull that curtain down and leave one more encounter, Captain Cassandra's finally mad. Captain Cassandra is about to go and kick some ass with some highly trained people, and I love it. Our one crew member who was not here tonight, played by the ever talented Janet, they and I will be doing a session. I don't think we're going to stream it, but I am going to record it and we will post it on YouTube in the playlist with the rest of these. We're going to get Vanessa from where we dropped them off to where you guys are going to meet at the start of next week for the final episode. So that'll get posted. We're recording that on Monday, so that'll be posted Monday afternoon or Tuesday at the latest.
A special Vanessa episode, you can
And
say.
then,
Yeah.
dun, 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 next time on the finale, Janet will be joining us again. I'm very happy to say they are making the sacrifice, and it is a bloody sacrifice, to stay up until tomorrow to play with us. They're going to push themselves one more time, and I am flattered and honored that they're willing to do that. But they're going to be here for the final episode. And the
It
only
takes
hint I'm
around
going to
2
give
days to
about that
regenerate.
is one demon down, one to go. I think that's what I'm going to call Monday's episode. One down, one to go. So, with that, it's time for the thank yous. Thank you to Siosa for playing Anchor. You waited, 12 episodes to go to level 4, to get
To lose a ship.
to turn it to 11, to do the old Spinal Tap reference. Yeah. Thank you for your patience, and it made it absolutely epic. I like the idea in my head for the next week. Anchor is taking out that town. Like every time I think about this game, it's just all I see is Anchor on another street. Just
He's held his anger in check for a while.
yes, Anchor's anger is coming out, so I love it. Thank you for that character, Carol. Ben did character art, character development. He is now the perfect crew. In fact, if Anchor is to be believed, Ben is the next bosun for this ship.
Yes, but I want to tell, I didn't plan this. It's all thanks to both Tsiosa and Deku who inspired me this session, and Janet, Vanessa as well. This session, this campaign is the most role play team heavy, team role play heavy game. We just bounce off each other. And thank you, Tsiosa, for the inspiration, and thank you, Deku, for the wonderful Capitan Cassandra who inspired the rest of us. And it's a team effort, really team effort, both in game and out of game. And it's really inspired me in that moment, because Anchor was so badass that as I said, I wanted to piggyback off it,
Yep.
and it just came out natural and really felt good. And I'm really happy with Ben now incorporated his trauma in his life, and he's looking at himself differently. There always will be a trauma, but now he's ready to move on and to be a better person to help others, so that others don't have to suffer like he had.
And notes to other
That's
GMs
a
out there.
rebuilding. Yep.
Notes to the other GMs out there. Give your players a chance to do this. Give your players a chance to develop the story, put them in places and make them play, make them get to the spot where they don't have a plan, and amazing things happen. So thank you for that. And last,
And thank you for
thing.
doing that, Kevin.
Oh, you're very welcome. One more thing for Carol. I will never get over the fact that you stay up until stupid o'clock in the morning to play with us. I will never, that will never not be amazing to me, and it will be something I remember until I'm old and
it
grayer.
takes around 2 days to regenerate from that physically, because I have cerebral palsy, but my mental batteries are charged up for the rest of the week, or 2 or 3 weeks. Like, I'm not even mad about losing my stupid cell phone, which probably happened.
Well, it's
Because
nice
I
to
hope you
know.
find it, by the way.
Me too. But I feel like I earned my keep tonight. Then, so thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're not going anywhere until we're done, and we're not done until we talk to Deku about Captain Cassandra. I want to thank you for going with it. It was never part of my plan. I know it was never part of your plan to end up captain of this shindig.
No,
I know we've pushed you as a role player because of that, and I appreciate the almighty heck out of you just leaning into this character and putting all the thought. I know how much thought you think about this during the week because I see the comments and the messages that you send. So I know how committed you are to this game and every game. It was the same in our Sherwood game. It is a pleasure to have you in the games. Uh, One of the biggest compliments I will pay any player is I will throw you under the bus. And I did that with you, and you came out the other side smelling like roses and not like bus. So, congratulations. I am super impressed with your role playing skills. Thank you.
thank you for all of your patience while I try to get my own thoughts together and make my mouth work to get them out.
Well, you did, and you have, and it's been wonderful to watch. So thank you all for that. And just because I bet they're probably going to watch the VOD, I'm going to thank them now. I'm going to thank Janet for Vanessa because every group needs a badass. Every group needs a dark bastard. And we have ours in Janet, and the character arc and the story arc is working there too. And I'm really looking forward to wrapping that one up next week.
Janet, it wouldn't be the same without you. We love
We
you. You
wouldn't
are
have gotten
great.
here.
Nope,
Without her.
and we will wonderfully, marvelously, happily have them back next week for the finale. So,
Yep.
with that, and on that happy note, thank you to everybody that watched tonight. Thank you for the amazing pile of subs. I'm not sure what we're going to do. There's still one left. There's still one untaken. So, but thank you, Mystic Nemesis. I keep wanting to say Mystic Nemesis, like it's some kind of like it's mimesis. There's a process I think that's called mimesis. But Mystic Nemesis, thank you. I'm going to guess that you in some way, shape, or form know Ciosa. Because of the response, but I
We are
appreciate.
friends. Yes.
Oh, I appreciate the heck out of it. I hope we amused you today. And if you haven't seen it, go watch the rest of the show, which is a great chance for me to pitch the YouTube channel. 650 plus shows, episodes on there, average 2 hours each. We'll keep you busy. We'll keep you informed. But if you go there, hit the buttons, do the things, hit the bells, hit the thumbs, leave a comment. It makes a difference. But what makes a difference more than any of that, because that's all for the computer and for the algorithm, to make it better for the people, I would like to suggest that until the next time we meet, and until the next time you see us, please make an effort to be nice to each other. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night and
Night.
day.